Hey guys, this is Rudy G Funk, and first off, I want to apologize for not doing a video in a while. I know you're all dying to see the next one, and I joke there. But second of all, from the Rudy G Funk family and everybody I know, our condolences go out to Hugh and all the stuff that he's been going through. It's got to be tough in the situation he's in, with these deaths in the family and that whole thing. So, our condolences out to Hugh. But on the Browns, I really kind of want to do like a half full, half empty, like kind of comparison of kind of what's going on with Tyrod, the Bakeman, Drew Stratton, First, the half empty, which isn't my cup of tea. I'm more the half full, but the half empty. Let's kind of look back at 2016 and what did we have? We had RG3, we had Josh McCown, and we had Cody Kessler. And I could see where somebody could make a pretty good argument that this could be comparable to this year. I mean, a lot of stuff that is really comparable. You got a mobile quarterback, which was RG3, which is Tyrod Taylor, that they're both leaving places that kind of didn't want them, that kind of wanted to get rid of them, that complained about them. You got Josh McCown, who is the best backup in the league, basically. I don't know how else to say it. And they kind of do this with the Drew Stratton thing. He's this great backup that's going to teach everybody, how to play quarterback better, or how to survive in the NFL, in a certain sense, which was really reminiscent of 2016. And then you got the Bakeman, the 6 foot with a what would you call it, like a college style red flag. You're unsure of, and he's got to have these veterans in front of him to show him how to play the game. And I don't necessarily want to do that. I don't want to think that way. I could see where someone was saying, well, we're basically kind of going back to the 2016 type deal. And this is around the wordsmithing, the generalizations of we got to have a veteran guy in there. We got to have guys that won games. RG3 won games, Josh McCown won games, and everybody was really upset with how the 2016. Excuse me, I need some truth serum. How the 2016 season ended. So I could see where we could think that's a pretty good comparison to what's going on this year, And you can go on about, RG3 is different than Tyrod Taylor, We'll kind of get into that, which is part of my my half full, which is what I believe, What are things we're kind of reminiscent of the 2 years, I mean, besides the Bakeman, they kind of got him at number 2, which was, I can see the argument, well, Cody wasn't good enough to move up to those that number 2 spot. So he remained number 3 as Josh McCown was the number 2 guy. And then you got Cody was a third round pick. Bakeman was the number 1 guy, So, I mean, does that catapult him into the number 2? Because everybody wants to see him, and I want to see him, All of us do. So tonight, we're on the eve of our first preseason game, and I really kind of wanted to get my perspective, and I'm really going to take the half full stance on this because I understand where one might think that this is kind of reminiscent of 2016 with the RG3, the Josh McCown, compared to Tyrod Taylor and the Drew Stratton. And then the Cody and they're both 6 foot. You could pull all kinds of stuff out of your ass about how, in a certain sense, this could be very similar to what happened 2 years ago, almost like we're resetting. However, Now I'm going to go 180 degrees the other way. And I'm not really sure you're really going to like this too much either. But I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Because this guy, some pretty kick-ass numbers there. You remember that from my other video? Baker Mayfield, these are common man football numbers. It's not NFL Network or anything. I'm trying to make sure I use the same stuff so that the values hold the same. Kind of like my apology in the other video. But the Bakeman reminds me of this guy here. I know that looks weird because their numbers are all off, and you're saying, well, analytics don't work because of blah, blah, blah. And this isn't my point, isn't about necessarily analytics, but more fundamentals. Because I think in my last video, or maybe the video before, I talked about how I like to watch the verses. I don't like to watch the highlights because everybody looks great. That another generalization. Everybody looks great in highlights, but if you show the lowlights, a good friend of mine would tell me that. Pardon me, I need some more truth serum. And what I did realize, and kind of what YouTube has been doing a lot lately, is somewhat of a kind of a corporatism where all the NFL stuff's going to show up before some of these other stuff that might even have more hits. There's kind of a little favoritism going on YouTube right now. So it took me a while before I eventually started getting shown some versus stuff from Tyrod Taylor, and he looks really good. I was very impressed with a lot of the stuff I saw. So as I started, I'm going to rewind a little bit, and I'm going to say that this guy kind of reminds me of this guy. And this is that 180 degrees that you're not going to like, probably. Who reminds me of this guy? If you allow me to explain a little bit. Fundamental similarity between these three guys is they're all very efficient. They all have very good fundamentals. And I'm not talking about mechanics and throwing or anything like that. They all believe one thing, and they all know one thing. It's a very, very important when it comes to being a very good quarterback. This is how you start. You be inefficient. You take care of the ball. All three of these guys believe in that. So I'm going to go the 180 degrees, and I'll take that. I like this a lot. The Bakeman takes care of the ball. He learned it a long time ago. He took care of it in high school, and he took care of it in college. Now Tyrod, probably didn't do as well with in high school, but he gets to college and he takes care of the ball. You got to remember we're being compared to the rest of the quarterbacks that are coming out with him. And I'm not even going to go into because I don't know who came out with Tyrod, but he did learn to take care of the ball. It's a fundamental difference between a good quarterback and a bad quarterback, and in a lot of people's opinions, and certainly in mine. So when I go to watch these guys tomorrow, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing, and a really good friend of mine kind of we touched on this conversation earlier today about fundamentals, and what I wanted to see. And I don't know, maybe this platform might explain it a little bit better as to what I was trying to touch on fundamental football that I want to see. I mean, not only do we have Nick Chubbs, but we do have Tyrod Taylor and we have the Bakeman, and they take care of the ball, and that's what I want to see. It wasn't so long ago where I viewed things similar to a lot of people, where I was just like, okay, well, you hurl it downfield, it's kind of like a punt. They intercept it, you tackle them on a 30, it's kind of like a punt. However, need more truth serum. However, you ever notice these interceptions get thrown, and guess who winds up tackling the recipient of this football? It's usually the quarterback. You ever notice that? Well, I don't want my quarterback, 1 of 11, tackling the guy that intercepts the ball. You know, I want my special teams guy tackling the guy that received the punt or received the kickoff. You know, so there's somewhat of a fundamentals in that concept. Well, we'll just hurl it downfield. You know, they'll get tackled on. You know, there's pick sixes. You know, a lot of these cornerbacks receive punts. You know, receive kickoffs. You know, they're agile. They're wily. You know, they're little wily coyotes running around there. You know, so they work through your offense, which isn't built for tackling. They're not built for special teams. They're built to offend. You know. And I'm not saying they're athletes, but you know there might be 5, 6, 7 guys that even know it's intercepted by the time they run past it, which is why a lot of times you're seeing the quarterback is just so pissed off because he threw a fucking interception. You know, he's winds up tackling a guy, which I don't need that. I don't need I really do not want to see Tyrod Taylor or the Bakeman, tackling recipients of his interceptions. You know. It's bad football. It's bad fundamentals. And I really think, very much in my other videos, you hear that I did like Sashi and I do like Dorsey. I like Dorsey because he set us up with some guys that take care of the ball, These guys fundamentally know to take care of the ball first. And you get the ball to the guy, you throw the balls to your running backs and your wide receivers and you hand it off to your running backs. And you let them go to work, especially when we got Chubbs. You hand the ball off to Chubbs, and you throw the ball to Gordon, whoever, I guess that's a different video of who's going to be out there. But Higgins, you name it, you let them do their job. You do your job, And I don't mean to go off Belichickian on you there, but. That is their job. Their job is to be efficient, fundamentally. I want this return. We didn't get it last year. And, that's a different video altogether, which might come soon about last year. But I do want this return to fundamental football, which I haven't seen since this guy. And I brought out the old, Terry Pluto cards for, because I'm a cheap ass. And so when I go half full on you, it probably wasn't what you're thinking, and that's okay. We all have our opinions. That's cool, and I would love to hear your guys' opinions, So anytime you can comment, subscribe, hit the little bell thingy, I really appreciate it. I really love a little, this channel's so small still, and we're just starting out here, and I really didn't want to put a bunch of videos on during camp because it is practice. There's so much kind of, I don't want to say false drama, and I don't want anything that associated with Hugh. Obviously, that's not false drama, but a lot of the flotsam and jetsam that comes with training camp and that whole spiel. I just want to be commenting every day on just dumb shit, because it really doesn't matter until they get on the, nothing matters ultimately when they get on the field and produce, and I really believe that these guys are going to produce. I didn't pull up Drew Stanton here, my apologies to Drew, I don't want to be a clown to the dude or anything, but, we kind of, we got the 1 and 2 stars there, however, whatever order you might put them in, but this, to me, isn't necessarily, I'm not really sure what Cody's learning. And often my father and I would talk about this, and I would kind of fuck around and joke around with him, like, what was Cody learning from McCown and RG3? Was he learning to throw into double coverage, to triple coverage? I mean, how many times have you heard the, flea flicker in the end zone, into triple coverage? How many times you heard that clip and laughed and be like, oh yeah, it's those Cleveland Browns. You kind of go. And everything gets kind of generalized. Pardon me. I need some more truth serum. We kind of generalize, well, it's the Browns, they're always just kind of doing that kind of shit. And I really think that we got somewhat of a return to a fundamental football here, which is, you dink and dunk, you take what the defense gives you, and you run the ball, you know. And I heard I heard a guy talking on, I can't remember, 850, 92.3, one of those things, and he was talking about Bill Parcells and how he immediately turned his camp around. And all he did is he got rid of all the penalties and he took care of the football. You know, I don't know if I should go into taking care of the football on this video or should I just make another one, but yeah, maybe I'll just go. Hold on, I need some more truth serum so I can tell the truth. Okay. What is taking care of the football? It starts at the top, doesn't it? It starts with play calling. You want to do stuff fundamentally right for the guys that you have. I think the fundamentals really start there. Even when it pertains to specifically with the quarterback, the calls that the plays that you call start this fundamental progress, I think. And then it goes to the quarterback. What does he do? Is he doing that? Is he reaching? Is he forcing the ball? This is where you get all these generalizations. He's forcing the ball downfield. He's just trying. He puts the team on his back. How many times have you heard this garbage? All the time. And if they just take care of the ball, which is, when the quarterback feels comfortable throwing the ball, he's going to throw it, It's got to be that simple. If he doesn't like a look downfield, he's not going to take it. He shouldn't take it. If he threw downfield all day, he's going to be throwing interceptions all day. It is a strategy. I love throwing downfield. I do. It's great. It's exciting. How come they don't do it all the time then? Well, we'll just put the fastest guy out there. He runs past him. You throw it towards the seam, and he runs under it. It's just not. It's not fundamental football. It isn't. So how does the quarterback take care of the ball? I guess I'm going to go ahead and do it in this episode if you're still listening. But I need more truth serum. What are the ways that the quarterback takes care of the ball? All right. Well, he throws it to his receivers, right? He completes the ball, right? There's one. He doesn't fumble, whether he's scurrying in the pocket or anything like that. That's another way. He holds onto the ball. He protects it. He takes care of the ball, right? He takes a sack. Taking a sack is taking care of the ball. And it's huge. And I don't know if you read any blogs on Tyrod Taylor at all, but very similar to this guy here, who took too many sacks last year, taking care of the ball. We also heard about the aforementioned Tyrod Taylor there. Takes care, he takes too many sacks. These were the complaints coming from Tyrod Taylor. And he doesn't put much downfield. And if you listen, if you, by chance, you ever hear Rizzo and, Rizzo and Grossi, I like these guys. He had Grossi on. He usually has them on right around 10 on 850. And they were having this great conversation about camp and Baker Mayfield and Tyrod Taylor, and they're doing some great, and then Rizzo goes, so, how are they doing putting the ball downfield? And there's this eerie silence because Grossi gets kind of irked if you don't put one ball downfield in every series. I think it bothers the guy, And there was this silence. Well, they're really not putting much downfield. And then, you want to hear this bum, bum, bum music like, uh-oh, they're not putting. So here comes the media. They're going to be coming for these guys if they don't put the ball downfield. And I really hope they don't listen. I hope they kind of do like what this dude did. He didn't let the media bother him at all, Some of you are going to say, well, he can't put the ball downfield because he's got a weak arm, How many times do you have to hear that, This guy threw it 50 miles per hour in the combine. This guy threw it 55 miles an hour during the combine. This guy threw it 60 miles per hour at the combine. What do you think about that? I bet a lot of people probably watch Tyrod Taylor and say, he's got a pretty good arm, And I think kind of what you're seeing is a little bit different throwing styles, And if you watch, this is where I think Tyrod and the Bakeman are similar, is their finish. Their finish on balls, okay? If you watch very closely, you watch Tyrod Taylor and you watch Baker Mayfield, when they're finishing, they're kind of like their follow through. It looks like they're pushing off their hand. You see the ball release before you see their hand follow through. Now Cody's different. He's much more of a touch passer, kind of like what I was talking about with Mason Rudolph. He kind of lets it slide off of his hand, which may be weird. I don't know. But it doesn't matter because he's accurate, very accurate. And Baker and Tyrod are very accurate. There's another point that I'm glad that I actually mentioned that I came around to that make me remind each is they're very good, short and intermediate passes. They're very accurate, which is huge. Fundamentally, that's huge. And I really want to see a lot of that this year. And I don't want to hear, you're going to hear it anyway, so I will listen. But how we're not taking it downfield too much. I think they should go downfield when the defense lets them, You may or may not know this, but that's what he did. So, kind of wrapping things up, I'm really excited about tomorrow since we're on the eve of the first preseason game. But I do want to see a lot of fundamental gameplay there. I don't want to see any trick plays or any college style. I want these guys working on their not necessarily working on it might be the wrong phraseology, but I want them secure in their fundamentals. That's what I want to see. I want to be running the ball a lot, and I want these guys dinking and dunking, and if you put one downtown, hey, that's all good. If you don't, if you don't like the looks of it, pardon me, I need more truth serum, then so be it. Don't throw it downtown. You got playmakers. That's what they're there for, right? So, on this eve of the preseason, can't wait. Go Browns. Love you guys out there that are watching. Again, our condolences to Hugh and what his family and stuff's going through. And, go Browns. Subscribe, hit the little bell thingy in case I do another one soon. I'd really like to, do another one soon, but, you got life, family, death, all kinds of stuff kind of going on and work. And I would like to put out more, but I really thanks for watching, and God bless you. Peace out, brothers.